Yeah, 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 yeah. Why did Jesus want to be baptized, and what was going on there, Peter?
Oh man, you asked the question. Yeah, this is a tough one. I think that, I think there are probably like 8 or 9 different views on this. So I'll
Yeah.
spare you all the different complexities of that. I'll give you probably what I think are probably the two main
Yeah.
options. So I think I think a lot of people would take this as some sort of representative capacity. I mean, first of all, John's baptism was explicitly labeled as a baptism of repentance. And so, we would, as conservatives, we would say, of course, Jesus did not sin.
Yeah.
So something else is going on. Jesus isn't repenting. And so it's possible, and I'd say this is probably the more likely of opinions, that Jesus, in undergoing baptism, is functioning as the Davidic representative of the people that he is serving, that he is coming to save, and that would fit very well with the Matthew's theme of painting Jesus as the new Davidic king. Is that both in Old Testament as well as New Testament, you basically have the responsibility of the Davidic king to represent his people. It's called corporate solidarity. And so I think that what is possibly going on there is that Jesus understands that he's representing his people through baptism so that when we are baptized, we are joined to his baptism that he himself has undergone. And so I think there's probably something to that, regardless of what other variations and views you take. Is that there's probably some sort of solidarity going on there and representation aspect. But alternatively, another really good, attractive view is that Jesus, when he went through his baptism, was around 30 years old. And that was, according to Jewish law, the time that the priests would go into service. And one of the ways that they would go into service, or one of the ways they'd be initiated, would be by going through washing and cleansing through a baptism of sorts. Obviously, it's not Christian baptism, but they would wash and bathe just like we see the symbol of baptism operating. And so some people have suggested that maybe there's a link to the initiation of Jesus's ministry undergoing the baptismal process because of his, he's starting his ministry, and so this is the starting point. And there's obviously a certain amount of truth to that. That is basically his initiation of his ministry. And whether or not that's to connect to the whole priestly aspect of his ministry, or whether it's just to put himself on the scene, being identified as the Isianic servant, there's probably multiple things going on. But I think those key concepts are really what's going on there in Jesus's baptism. He's not repenting from sin, but he's identifying himself with his people, and he's likely initiating his ministry through that process.